Now, sharing posts about our day-to-day lives has become the norm, but should parents be more conscious of their children's digital footprint?
Here to discuss the risks of sharenting is law lecturer Dr. Frances Rees. Frances, thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning. I suppose this is something that has come up time and time again, and looking at all our social media, anything you follow, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, you name it. There's parents sharing pictures, videos, etc. of their young children online 24/7. You can't get away from it. What extent is the problem now, or if it is indeed a problem?
In terms of what's going on now, what you're seeing obviously is this generation that have grown up with social media in their lives, and they haven't questioned at times their own posting of themselves and their own digital identity being constructed as they've been growing up, and now they're starting to have children. It's that kind of automatic assumption that they're making that decision now for their children as well.
Is sharenting, so when you share content related to your child and bringing them up, but they are oblivious or are not aware?
So it can involve the children as well. You see sort of family accounts where the children are part of the content and they're very much involved in that process. But yes, yeah, the principle of sharenting, if you think about it, even from the baby scan onwards, looking at sharing some form of imagery of your child online. And it can even be grand-sharenting, where grandparents are making that decision to share sometimes, and parents might find that problematic. So there are different, it's a very emotive topic. People have very strong opinions on it and different approaches to it. And I guess the work that I'm doing is trying to look at it as a practice and think about what good would look like, and to help parents where there isn't any guidance or, you know, practical support or help around what good would look like. And that's what the project I'm involved in is trying to do.
Because there's actually help for child actors and child models. There's systems put in place that protects them. But for people in social media, which is a multi-million-dollar industry, it's incredible, there really is no parameters.
No.
And also, sorry, I was at an event the other day, and this woman told me that kids, animals and grandparents are the most lucrative content that they see online.
Absolutely. We're naturally driven to kind of look for the cute in child content. So we're 3 times more likely to engage with content that has a child at the source of it. And as you say, that can prove to be quite lucrative then. If you're thinking about parents or people who already have followings and then becoming parents themselves, it then becomes a natural flow that they will introduce kids into their own content too.
Tell us about the Child Influencer Project that you're working with at the moment.
So I've set the Child Influencer Project up within my law school in Essex, and the project works across Ireland and the UK as 2 separate jurisdictions where, as you say, there aren't any protective guidelines or measures put in place as to what child content would look like or child performance in that industry, where, as you know, on set or on stage or on screen, children are very heavily mandated for in terms of safeguarding and their working hours and impact on their schooling and their rights to even have the money as an income, health and safety risk assessment, insurance, all of those things would be in place for child models and child actors, and just don't exist in this phenomenon. So thinking about child YouTubers, TikTokers, etc., they don't have any of those protective mechanisms. So the work that I do looks at sharenting and then escalating into forms of potential child labour.
When we have, and I see it all the time, and even on my own Instagram feeds, there's a press drop or something is gifted to somebody, and then and a lot of time brands are realising that children sell. So these children's boxes and toys and everything are sent off. And it's like unboxing. You have a 4 or 5 year old child unboxing something, or look what I got from this brand, it's labelled. They're actually, in effect, advertising a brand unwittingly in a lot of cases. By that, like, is there any research done into what that can do to children, having their digital footprint online so much? I mean, we hear it all the time about the dangers of social media on the mental health of children, etc., as they grow older. But having that sort of almost brand identity so young, Is there anything on that yet?
Yes, that's what the work that I'm doing, and building into a body of research that's growing on this area, because we're starting to see kids now who are older coming out of certain situations where they would have felt pressured, you know, and has led to some pretty horrific incidents, especially in the States. You know, we've had the Ruby Franca case over there where the kids' content was the vehicle for some pretty terrible behaviours. But in terms of that's part of the reason why parents don't think of it necessarily as work, because for the child, they're thinking it's play, oh, they're just unboxing, they're just dancing, they're just messing around. But when it's coming from a brand, some of those things can be so prescriptive, like they're telling the child, they're telling the parent, so they're communicating with the parent what their needs and wants are, of the child's got to look a certain way, hold the product a certain way, say specific things, make sure they mention the brand name. So that goes beyond play. That's not a child naturally opening something and having fun. Where brands are involved to that extent, it can be so heavily scripted that some of these 30-second reels can take up to 3 days to completely manage. If you think about trying to get a child to go anywhere and look a certain way and say a certain thing and not mess it up, it takes a lot to make that happen.
Frances, they could inadvertently be jeopardising their child's safety. And the issue of consent comes in. What tips can we give parents on this? How can we help?
Potentially, so you know, where brands are involved, they should have a duty of care as well to take some responsibility. Where in normal industries they would have to behave that way. By contracting with parents here, they seem to not need to do that. So that puts a lot of pressure, unfortunately, then on parents as to what should I do? How should I manage this? Extra income's always welcome in a household. So you're thinking that this is a good thing for the child and for your family and for your revenue stream. But it is then those risks. So thinking about how the child's being portrayed, is it a dignified manner? Is the child willing and wanting to be involved in this? Is it a product that's not going to harm their future reputation? Are they wearing things that are kind of covering them up? And, you know, you've got to think about those things from a privacy, consent and safeguarding point of view.
But even take the brand and the money aspect out of it. From everyday, your normal parents, aunties, uncles, grannies, whatever, if they're posting content or pictures or images or videos of children online, are they inadvertently, could they be putting them in danger? Is there, and then the whole muddy feature of consent as well, are children capable of giving consent to something, a digital footprint that is there for eternity?
The way I kind of view it is, sure, nobody ever took consent from the fairy liquid baby to be the fairy liquid baby, or for my mummy to take photos of me and show them to, you know, random people at work. But because of the scope of this, and it's shared to such a wide global audience, that's where the risk is. And it's not, you know, the person lurking wanting to snatch your child. It's that sort of innocent stuff that might be given away about the child, like their first school, their first pet, you know, all of that data that could expose them to identity fraud or identity theft down the line. So there are risks there in terms of people knowing about the child, knowing what they look like, knowing where they are, and those kind of natural, is this a good thing to be doing, that we should check ourselves about? How's the child being represented? Are they willing? And do you have regular check-ins with them? You know, what you posted about when they were 2 might not be appropriate to have online anymore now they're off to school, could expose them to bullying, etc.
Once they're online, they're always online.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Content creator Julie Haynes, travel blogger and business owner Gillian Smith, and journalist Niamh O'Reilly. They all join us now to share their thoughts. Thank you all so much for joining us in the show this morning. I know this is kind of a hot topic for many people, but I'll start with you this morning, Julie. You're very open about sharing your life on social media. You post your children quite regularly. Why did you decide to do this?
Well, I suppose the reason I started influencing or content creating is because I remember having the twins, and I'm a single parent, so I'm on my own with the twins at home. So I remember watching other bloggers or influencers sitting down with their glass of wine at 7 o'clock. I was like, I just got the kids up to bed, and, you know, I'm sitting down on my glass of wine, and I'm up and down the stairs with 2 babies rocking. I was like, come here, that's not reality at all. That's not real life at all. So then I started coming on and be like, I'm trying to get my kids to sleep. I can't sit down with a glass of wine at 7 o'clock. This is the norm as well. So yes, I share the good, but I also share the bad and the ugly. And I think that's important as well for other parents watching me, that it's not all sitting down at 8 o'clock with the glass of wine with the kids upstairs asleep, because they're 7 now and they're up and down the stairs 14 times. I'm hungry, I'm thirsty. I forgot to tell you this today, you know. So like that.
So would you share all of that?
I do share a good bit of it, yes. Yeah.
And do you take any precautions when you share in terms of location or people knowing everything about them?
Yeah, so I wouldn't share their school. Like if I drop them off to a birthday party, I would just say, oh, they're at a birthday party. Like I have the hour off there now to go to Dunn's to do my shopping, but I wouldn't say where the birthday party is or, you know, what soft play they're in or whatever like that. But I protect them that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's like you're being relatable with what you post. Gillian, for you, you had this business plan that you wanted to put in place, and you use your children as models for that. So tell us more about this.
Yeah, so I'm a business owner, a small business owner. I have my own range of children's pyjamas called Waylon and Flo. And when I started my business, like I'm a small business owner, so I don't have a big marketing budget, and I don't have that kind of, you know, behind me or anything. So I suppose for us as a family, we had decided that, and if you knew my little boy, actually, there was no way he wasn't going to be doing it. I decided that I was going to use them for modelling. But I suppose, like, I've gotten advice over the years that, you know, maybe I should show more of myself and more of my family life and everything, because, like that, being a small business owner as well, people buy from you. So I don't have that big marketing budget to put out this fantastic, you know, advertising all the time. So it's more about trying to connect with people on a personal level, and to show a little bit about us and our lifestyle, really. But I do struggle a little bit with that, and I'm more, you know, showing the kids wearing the pyjamas rather than what we do.
We used the word use twice there, but I don't think you would have gotten away with it.
No.
I think like the boys were adamant that they were going to do this.
They were definitely going to do it, And it's funny, actually, because someone asked me the other day, how do they still like doing it? Or, you know, at the start, I'm 3 years in business now, so at the start they were, you know, there was no way they weren't going to be in any of the pictures. But now, I suppose they're more used to it now, and they're like, sometimes they mightn't be in the mood to get pictures taken, and that's fine. And so we don't take pictures that day. But I suppose it kind of leads into that I wouldn't be able to follow them around with a camera all day because they just wouldn't have it. So it's very intentional.
So they're letting you know what they do and want to do. Like, Niamh, I suppose in contrast, you used to share a lot of your family online. You stopped doing that. Why?
I did. So, like, when I first became a mum, my 2 are 8 and 5 now, like, I struggled a lot at the start. And being a writer, I suppose I naturally sort of shared what I was going through online and on Instagram and stuff like that. And I wouldn't think anything of putting up a picture and, like, a humorous, relatable post about, like, motherhood and how hard it can be. And then when my eldest was a toddler, I was in a toy shop, and a lady tapped me on the shoulder, and I turned around and I didn't recognise her face. And I was looking at her for a minute, and she said, "Oh, my name is such and such. I follow you on Instagram. I recognised your son." And I just got a huge, huge fright. Now, this lady had no untoward intentions. She was just another mum. She'd followed me online. She wanted to come and say hi. So no badness in it at all. But I think it was the fact that she said, "I recognised your son," just frightened the life out of me. And I suppose it's just given me pause. So when I post now, I sort of think, why am I posting? And do I need to post their face? Because I think it's very important. Like, motherhood can be very isolating. You know, the village...
post images like this.
I do, yeah.
But you can't see faces.
You can't really see faces. Like, motherhood can be very isolating. I think the village is gone for a lot of us, and a lot of us have found that village online. So I think it's really important that we share about motherhood and talk to one another. And I think, you know, talking relatably and really about motherhood is important, that it's not always great, it's not always a bed of roses, it can be really hard. But is there a way to share that maybe without necessarily always showing your children's face, or you could, you know, show them from behind or something like that, or leave them out of the pictures altogether and just put something else in it and post other content. But I really am keen to keep mums sharing with one another online, because, as I said, motherhood can be very isolating.
Yeah. So like Julie and Gillian are you've got a business to run, you know, and you're a content creator, so they would have their children's faces on.
Yeah. So
what
and it's different strokes. I mean, for different folks, I think. You know, it's when I maybe post a picture on my Instagram, I don't have a very big following or anything like that. I probably get like 2 heart and 1 flame emoji from people that I know, you know, other mums. So I guess it's you're in a different position when you have maybe a business or a very large following. And I suppose, like, as parents, we're all trying our best, and the online world is changing so fast, you know, AI and all of the things that can do. So I think it's important to have conversations like this and just maybe just think before we post, or is there different ways we can post? I think keeping the talking about motherhood open is really important, but maybe just have a pause before you post something. And I think the thing is, we all love our kids so much and we love pictures of them. And like when I take a picture of my kids, I automatically think, oh my God, they're so gorgeous. I want to share this with everyone. But not everyone's going to feel the same way about a picture of my kid that I do. So I think maybe sometimes we have to think about that as well.
Okay, so you share them in WhatsApp groups and...
With my immediate family,
with the immediate
yes,
family.
For sure.
Okay.
Yes,
Do you feel the pressure to post pictures of your family?
Do you know what now?
For business purposes.
So like my twins are 7 now, and you'd ask them, like if you asked me years ago when I was 7, what do you want to be when you're older? I might say something. I want to go to the moon. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be an elf to help Santa build all the toys. Now you ask my 7-year-olds, what do you want to be when you're older? A YouTuber, a TikToker. They what? That's their generation. A YouTuber. I want to be a YouTuber, and they're dead set. They want to be YouTubers.
But do they know what that entails, or do they know that it's just kind of reality TV, as it's just like a micro version of reality TV almost, because, or do they just think it's a bit of fun?
I'd say they just think it's a bit of fun, and they're half American, I'm sure. They speak American, you know. Like they're going to the garbage, they're going to the trash, you know. They wake up some mornings, I want to go to Chuck E. Cheese. I was like, the only place you're going, Fionn, is Burger King or McDonald's. Yeah. Like they speak American. They love YouTube. Like I co-parent with iPads someday. You know, I'm not afraid to say that. But like my small fella sings Ireland's Call in Irish, and he said to me that day, Mom, post all this to the subscribers. He calls them the subscribers because of YouTube. Yeah. And he just loves it. He loves it, you know. And my little girl is an Irish dancer, and I put her out there dancing because she's a beautiful little dancer.
Actually, we've some of
here we go.
Song there. Yeah, but do you think sometimes they're young now, and I just know from like the 20-odd nieces and nephews I have, they would have been kind of oblivious at that age. But as they get a little bit older in their teens, they're not really. They're more aware of themselves, their bodies, their image, etc. online, and maybe stuff that they would have been happy as an innocent child, they're now kind of rowing back. Are you ever concerned that they might become too well known and the ramifications of that? And let's say, do they get stopped? Do people recognise them in the street, etc.?
See, they wouldn't get stopped on their own because I'm going to be always with them anyways.
But would people recognise them as themselves?
They would. They'd recognise Fionn and Erin Rose because like that now they're online and I'd have a large following. But to me, I feel like I'm giving them a platform. Like, you know, Erin Rose,
so is that what you want for them?
That's what I want.
You want them to be the TikToker or the YouTuber that they want to be.
Exactly. Like, as I said, my Erin Rose is a beautiful dancer. Who knows who's watching me? Like, there could be some scout from Riverdance, and in a couple of years, they'll be like, oh my God, I see her dancing a lot. She's a stunning dancer. Let's call her up. They're not going to come knocking at my door. You know, you kind of have to put them out there as small if they want. Now, as I said, my Fionn and Erin Rose, Mom, put that up. Like, they have huge personalities. They're very, very bubbly. And if they're shy and into themselves in a bit, I'd say, no, it's not for them. But I know they're well able. And that's what they want. Do you know?
Gillian, what's your advice for people in a situation like yours? You developed this brand of pyjamas. Your 2 boys were going, we're wearing them, Mom. We are your models. For people in a similar situation to you, what's your advice?
I think I honestly believe that the world is digital now, and it's the way forward. I think that a lot of people started sharing stuff online as a way to connect with people.
Especially
really,
in COVID, I suppose, because they were shut down.
Was a big thing, and it's a way to let people. A lot of people live in Australia and America. It's a way to connect with people without having to be on phones all the time. You know, it's a one sweep kind of for everybody. But I suppose for me, I'm very conscious of what pictures I show. I don't put anything that might be, you know, suggestive in any way, or, you know, I would be, you know, very concerned about somebody taking that image and using it somewhere else. So I suppose, like, for all intents and purposes, my kids are hangers for my pajamas, and then behind the scenes, you see, it's kind of hard for me because the whole reason for my pajamas and the whole meaning behind them is to try and create connection with families and their kids. And so it's kind of hard for me to say that, but then show me following my kids around with a camera all the time. So for me, I kind of see that as a child is looking for connection. They're looking for a way to play with their parent, and then you're a barrier in between that with a phone. And so it's very delicate for myself doing that, because I'm trying to get both sides across, really.